Hey, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello. We're just logging on, going live right here, and happy to be here. My name is Thosh. I'm one of the board members of Native Wellness Institute, here with my wife Chelsey in the back, and today we're going to be doing healthy snacks. So we're going to wait a little bit and let some people log on, and then we're going to get started here. So we're just setting up in the background, so feel free to share this stream right here and get the kids involved. Follow along if you like. Oh, they were.
You want them off?
No, I wanted them on.
Oh, okay.
See, it's just dark when you stand right here.
Oh, yeah.
But so we don't have to be in front of the camera. We can be like right here.
Can they see what we're doing?
Yep. And then you can use this.
Yeah, you can be in and out as much as you want, Elia.
Join us.
She's also playing with Apple, though, so that's
Okay.
it's also helpful.
It's distracting.
All right. What's up, everyone? How's the sound? How sound? Good. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming in here. Again, my name is Thosh. I'm one of the board members of the Native Wellness Institute, and I'm here with my wife, Chelsey, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce.
All right. Sorry. Just gonna grab this. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here today. Welcome to the Native Wellness Institute Power Hour. We are coming to you live from Grand Forks, North Dakota at my sister's house. So usually we are at home in Phoenix, but we have been here in North Dakota with family. And we're so excited to share with you how to make a couple of different healthy snacks. You can see my niece Elia running around in the background. Our daughter is playing in their playroom with her right now. So at some point, the nieces may be joining us and whatnot, but they'll be kind of in and out. And we're going to share two different snacks with you today. One is a savory snack. It's just an easy vegetable tray. And then the other is a sweet snack, which is a smoothie bowl. And these are both my niece's favorite snacks. And also our daughter loves smoothies lately. So these have been what works for our family. And so in addition to sharing these examples, we're also going to be talking about our choices behind the different ingredients that we choose. We're going to be sharing, kind of where you can have some leeway with your choice, but also the things that you should really watch for and try to avoid when it comes to giving healthy snacks for kids. And so hopefully you get some good information out of this one today too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of different snacks and things like that, as many of you probably are already doing at home with your children. And so we're just going to share just very simple ones that we think are ingredients that everybody has access to, no matter where you're at. If you're in a rural residential area or if you're in the city, all these are pretty much ingredients that everyone has. And so, of course, that we always like to advocate for ancestral foods, but we also advocate for just whole, real foods as well. Mm-hmm. Yes. So do you want to talk any more about what we have here?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start with the savory snack, which is just simply the little veggie tray with hummus. Let me see. Can they still hear me if I put the microphone down?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask Thosh to go ahead and wash these because I haven't washed them yet. But here I just have 2 bell peppers. I chose yellow and green. And then I have a couple carrot sticks. So I'm just going to slice these up a little bit. And obviously the slicing part you want to do yourself because even though kids are highly capable in the kitchen and they can usually do a lot of different things, I'm actually probably gonna cut myself because I'm not even good with carrots. But obviously, you don't want a kid to use a sharp knife. So we'll do this little slicing part ourselves. And as you can see, I'm just slicing these relatively thin. I just had 2 carrots and they were peeled. And so I'm just slicing them into smaller, thinner pieces.
And for those of you too that are utilizing your indigenous languages of food and around the house, like use those words too as you're doing the food. I know that the carrot is where we come from, they call it wamtat, and so like it's a kind of a newer word, and it's a good thing to try to incorporate the language whenever you can with the children. The words for knife and to cut and utilize that. It's just a fun way to kind of bridge the gap between our language and health, wellness, and the healthy relationship to real and whole foods from our Mother Earth.
Yep. So like most parents, my sister was saying that it's not always easy to get the girls to eat vegetables. And I think that that's just universally a challenge for a lot of people. And so my niece actually told me, she's 7 years old, and she said that she really prefers eating the vegetable tray when it's shaped like a sun. And she likes it when it's a mix of different bright colors. And so, sometimes we might think to ourselves, is it really worth the time of like arranging something in a fun way? Or I know I've seen people do like where they'll make little caterpillar like looking little bugs out of like a celery stick, and they're adding blueberries onto it or something like that with peanut butter as the glue. So stuff like that, you can just talk to your kids and ask them, is it worth it for them? Maybe it is. Like Elia said, she actually really does prefer eating the vegetable tray when it's arranged in a fun way. And so we encourage you to try that out. If you're having trouble getting your kiddo to eat vegetables and it's something that you haven't tried yet, then it might work for you. And so the other thing that is actually practical about buying a variety of colors is that all people, whether you're kids or adults, we should be eating the rainbow. So the more the color of a fruit or vegetable is indicative of the nutrients that are in that fruit or vegetable. So the more variety of color you're eating, you're more likely getting a greater variety of the vitamins and minerals that we need. So that's why we chose this nice bright green, bright yellow peppers, and the nice bright orange carrot. Some of you who are like really good cooks out there are probably looking at me like, why is it taking this girl 100 years to cut and to slice these peppers? Because I'm a slow cook. So forgive me for that. Okay. I think we have enough here just to demonstrate.
I love bell peppers too. I always dice up different colors of bell peppers to use in my egg scrambles in the morning, and I use them too also in my salad. I mix them with like different types of autumn beans, and I just like the flavor and the texture of the bell peppers, and they're high in vitamin C, and they got vitamin A in them, and these are good.
Yeah.
And Elliot said that to call her in whenever. So
okay.
Want me to call her now?
Not necessarily. We'll have her come in for the smoothie bowl.
Yeah.
So now I am just playing with this. Can you get a spoonful of that hummus? So here we have 2 different types of hummus, and this is just store-bought, obviously. Hummus is really simple to make though. And so if we had more time, like what Thosh always makes at home is a tepary bean hummus that's actually using your the indigenous white bean that comes from Otham territory. Most hummus is made out of chickpeas. And you know, the store-bought stuff is fine, but it's a really good high protein snack that kids tend to really enjoy, and you can flavor it all kinds of different ways, and you can buy different flavors. So store-bought is totally fine. It does get to be a little bit expensive though. So remember that dried beans are one of the least expensive foods that you can always have on hand. And of course they are a lot more difficult to prepare. It takes time. Sometimes you have to soak them overnight, you know, different stuff like that. But can you describe how you make the hummus at home?
Yeah, so you can make a hummus out of the chickpea, and like Chelsey said, in bulk, they're really inexpensive. And I think that where we go to, it's like $1.25 a pound for some chickpeas. And if you're also using different types of beans, like say, you know, for us Southwest Native people, we have a variety of different beans, and we have a white tepary bean like Chelsey had mentioned. And what we'll do is we soak them overnight, we boil them, and then we put them in a food processor or a blender with some olive oil, some sea salt, some garlic cloves, or some garlic powder, and blend them up. And you just really get into a nice consistency, and there you go. You have your own homemade hummus right there, and get the kids involved. The kids would probably love doing that. They love being hands-on and feeling like they're part of it and a part of their food. And we just teach food preparation at an early age, I think, is really important, because obviously we know that our age of convenience that we're living in, it's just so accessible and easy to just go through a drive-through or to go to the grocery store and get a processed food out of a box or a bag. But when we're making our own snacks too out of whole foods, not only is it more the healthier way of having a relationship to food, but we're teaching our children too about a little bit about food sovereignty. They're learning the beginnings of food preparation and preparing their own food and having fun with the process. And I think that that's exciting, you know. And so, yeah, that's a little bit of how you can make your own hummus at home. It'll be a fun little task. On our website, wellforculture.com, in the foodways / recipe section, we have a recipe about how to make the tepary bean hummus. But again, can be used with chickpeas or other types of beans, other types of fibrous legumes.
So I'm just gonna show, and I might have Thosh bring this up even closer, but this is just the final product.
What top on it?
It's I just arranged them by colors. Every other vegetable is a carrot, and then I alternated the color of the peppers. But it's just easy. I mean, it's arranged, like I said, like a little sun. And hopefully, and then as you can see too, the kids here, they have these little colorful dishes. And that's another thing that sometimes makes a difference with kids. Sometimes I even remember when I was a kid, I had like this little cereal bowl that was like, it had a head on it and little feet, and it was a Ninja Turtle bowl. And and that thing, it didn't matter what my mom put in that bowl, I would eat it because I loved using that bowl so much. So sometimes it also really makes a difference to get them little dishes of their own, and these are really inexpensive ones from Target. So that's just an idea. So that's a savory snack. I know. And the reason that we really wanted to include a savory snack is because kids' snacks tend to be marketed, and there tends to be a lot more ideas out there for sweet stuff. But we know that it's really hard to keep the amount of sugars that we're eating lower. So trying a savory snack is a really good option for kids.
Yeah, and I think that, as we know, if children are exposed to sweets early on, it's hard to break the habit. And many of you parents out there realize and see that too. And we have to readjust our children's palate again and recondition the taste buds and the processing of the brain to the different textures, the different colors, and the different flavors that come with eating whole foods from our Mother Earth. And it's something that if a child has been already exposed to a lot of processed, highly stimulating, highly rewarding foods, it's going to be a little bit of a process to introduce real and whole foods. So I would say just slowly introduce it and start to substitute out some processed snacks with whole food snacks, and just start, keep chipping away at it until they start to kind of develop the taste buds and the brain starts to kind of process and like that information. And one thing that you can do with children, a mindful eating practice you can do with children at the table is, say, for instance, right here with the bell pepper, is bell peppers and carrots have a certain kind of crunch, right? They have a certain kind of texture. And what we can do with children at the table is that as we're eating the snack, we could do a little activity where as the children are eating, we can have a little bit of silence. Encourage them to not use their mouths and say, this activity, this time, we're going to do something, but we're not going to use our voices. So our voices are going to be off. What we're going to do is we're all going to take just a bell pepper or a carrot, and you're going to take a bite out of it and crunch it and really chew it. And with your brain, examine the flavors, examine the textures of it. How does this make you feel? And as you're doing that, you can also take another dip. Maybe this time let's add the hummus. Dip it in there. Now let's all have some silence. And as you eat, examine the texture, the flavor. How does it make you feel? Then the next step can be like, all right, let's continue to eat and let's think about, where did this food come from? Who brought it to me? And let's like give thanks to who brought the food here. So we're teaching eating with children. We're doing it with whole, real, natural food. And the food that we eat mindlessly, such as chips and candy and things like that, those are the foods that we have to watch out for. But the other foods, such as these, are foods that no one wants to, eat over. No one overeats vegetables, right? They're not a food that's highly rewarding, So what we could do is eat. Those are the ones that we end up limiting ourselves with, right? So that's where we have to kind of apply that notion to processed foods. Is the processed foods we have to eat mindfully. Well, all foods we eat mindfully, but the processed foods we have to be careful of, because we can mindlessly eat. As opposed to with, some bell peppers, you're not going to just sit there watching a TV show eating a bunch of bell peppers, And so those are some things fun activities you can incorporate at the table with children when it comes to mindful eating. And as adults, this is something you can do as well. And we practice all the time at home. And we could say, when we sit down and have our snack, we're going to turn the TV off, or we're going to turn the laptop off. We're going to turn the phones off. We're going to put away the electronic devices. And we're going to be present with our food, and let's talk about the food. How does it make me feel? What did I like about it? And just kind of bring in some dialogue to encourage children to discuss their feelings and then strengthen their relationship to the food.
Yeah. And then the other, we'll bring in for context here is that, obviously with COVID, a lot of parents have been at home and figuring out alternative childcare solutions for their kids because daycares aren't open and schools haven't been open and stuff. So what my family did here is, like, my sister and my brother-in-law actually hired my other sister, who is an early childhood teacher. They hired her to do the homeschooling for my two nieces here. And so that's been going really cool. They turned one of the bedrooms into a classroom, and McCall, my sister, who's doing the teaching, said that every single day the kids actively participate in breakfast and snacks. You want to come sit with me, Elia? They participate in breakfast and snacks. They prepare their own food. They help with the dishes and the cleanup and the setting the table and taking everything down. And Elia, do you want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Hi,
What's your name?
Elia.
And how old are you?
8.
Oh, you're 8. I was saying you were 7. Sorry, I forgot.
Yes.
So I was telling them that this was your idea to put the vegetables. Why do you like it more when it's shaped as a sun?
Because it makes me want to eat food more because it just looks cool.
It looks cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good idea. So tell us a little bit about what you do with Auntie McCall with like your snacks and lunchtime every day.
So usually we would do something simple, and today for lunch we had English muffin pizzas and then a smiley face ranch with carrots and peppers.
And do you help like make the lunch?
Not all the time.
Not all the time, just sometimes. What about, do you help set the table? You don't?
I don't.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to talk to Auntie McCall about that.
Because she never told me to.
Oh, so you don't have to do it every time, just sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
We wipe the tables.
You wipe the tables though?
Yes.
That's good.
At snack and lunch.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of your other favorite snacks? You guys have fruit every day, right?
Yes, I love smoothie bowls. We had one today.
Smoothie bowls. Oh, you already had one?
Yes.
Can you help us make another one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the next thing we're going to make is a smoothie bowl. And this is also an idea that we got from Elia because usually we just make regular old smoothies. And I had never really thought about just making it thicker and doing it in a bowl, kind of like an acai bowl. But that's easy and simple to do. So aloe kawe. So Ellie is going to help show us how to do that. Can we do it with blueberries?
Yes.
Okay. How about blueberries, banana, and peanut butter in there? Do you like all those ingredients or no peanut butter? No peanut butter? Okay. So we're not going to do peanut butter. So we'll just start with the blueberries. Do you know how much you usually do?
It's just like not too many.
You just kind of eyeball it?
Yeah, just how much you put is like one more of what you really have.
Okay.
So I just realized that.
So let's just eyeball it.
And everybody can have it too. Like
Do you put milk in it too, or do you just blend the fruit?
I don't know because I'm not the one who makes this.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I think we do.
Good job,
Sometimes
Anno.
we do yogurt. Sometimes we do yogurt.
Oh, you put yogurt. Okay. Do they have any yogurt in the fridge?
Yeah.
You do yogurt to make it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we found out that they do have yogurt. So one thing, like with a regular smoothie, we would usually just use a non-dairy milk. Our favorite is flax milk because it has lots of good nutrients in it. And see, Aloe is trying the hummus, and she has never eaten hummus before, and she seems to like it. Is that yummy? So instead of using milk, which we would do for a regular smoothie that you drink, we're going to use yogurt for the smoothie bowl. So Elia, do you want to go ahead and put some yogurt in there?
Yeah.
Or do you want Uncle Thosh to do it? You want to do it? Okay.
Yes.
Do we need a
Do we
spoon?
need a chair? Do we need a chair for you to get up on, a stool? Or can you reach it?
I think okay.
Do you want to just scoop it right in there with the spoon?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you should grab another spoon because Aloe's holding that one.
There, she's got it.
There we go.
I'll just do like all of this. This is probably good enough.
Okay, cool. Nice. Careful for the sharp part.
Can you get it?
Okay, so they didn't have much left here, but what this is a Greek yogurt, and it has no sugar added. This one is This one is 0% milk fat, but if I were buying it for kids or for myself, actually, I would buy the full fat one because the type of fat that comes in a Greek yogurt is actually good for you. So don't necessarily worry about getting a low fat kind. I mean, some people prefer the taste of low fat. I'm guessing my sister does. That's probably why she bought this. But in terms of nutrients, like kids need a certain amount of fat, and as do adults. It helps with cognition. It helps with all kinds of processes. So
Satiated.
it helps keep you satiated. So don't be afraid to get the full fat Greek yogurt. And then if you are lactose intolerant, like a lot of people are, then you can always get a non-dairy yogurt, just like you can get a non-dairy milk.
Yeah, and for smoothies too, we always use flax milk, we use hemp milk, we use almond milk, coconut milk, different types of one. They have oat milk here in this home, so we might even splash a little in there if we need to kind of make it a little, to soften it up a bit.
Thank you, Aloe. Good job. Yeah.
Bella.
So we just put a splash of the milk because I think it's going to help the blueberries blend. And Aloe also, as you can see, she likes to help and kind of tips a little bit of yogurt in there. Do you want banana in your smoothie bowl or just the fruit?
Yeah, banana.
You do want banana? Okay. Let's see here. Let's put like should we put half a banana in?
Yeah, half a banana.
Maybe not a whole one. Okay.
Because maybe that's a little much.
You want to take half and put it in there? Just rip it. There you go. Good job. All right. And now can you show us how to start this thing?
Yeah. Okay. So first, we have to put the lid on, don't we?
Yes. Where is the lid?
Right there.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Doesn't it? Which way does it go? Does it really matter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It goes like this. There you go.
Hi, Liza. Hi.
And my other niece Liza just woke up from her nap.
So yeah, we put it on there.
I don't know how this one works. This
It's a ninja one.
This-
Very fancy. So it's kind of hard to do.
yeah, we have a Vitamix at home, so I've never used the Ninja before.
She just blends it on medium.
You just gotta push it down.
Yeah, push
Here,
it
it's got a
down.
lock.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
And she said she just blends it on medium.
I
All the way.
know how to do this.
How do you like?
Because I've made smoothies with my dad before. My papa.
You do? Okay. Oh, there we go.
And then we turn it on, and then we can press switch.
Medium? I think that's blended good enough.
She likes that noise.
Aloe is over here just having a ball.
She's
Okay.
dancing.
Let me see. I wonder if it's not thick enough. It looks a little thin.
We can add more of the berries in there.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you can add too for those that might need more protein is you can add some plant protein or whey protein in there, and that will also kind of make it thicker, and you can make it clumpier, and if you need more protein intake as well.
Yeah, I actually just recently asked my daughter's nutritionist about this because we have been putting a little bit of protein powder, just a tiny bit, like much less than an adult-sized serving of protein powder into her smoothies because she doesn't really eat a lot of meat yet. She's just in this transitional phase after breast milk, and she's still learning how to chew a lot of things. So anyway, I didn't know whether or not it was okay to give a kid even a small amount of protein powder. And she just said proceed with caution because just like for adults, Thosh and I don't use as much protein powders as even we did at one time because we learned that they're not regulated by the FDA. Some people selling protein, definitely don't buy any protein powder that's not from a trusted brand.
Just get it from Whole Foods.
Get it from Whole Foods or, order online, a place that you trust. And if you are giving to kids, just give a small amount. And also remember that kids don't need a huge amount of protein. And so you don't necessarily need to do that. But sometimes it's good for certain kids.
Go.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Elliot, we pour it into the bowl?
Yes.
Okay.
For some reason, I want the purple bowl.
You want the purple bowl? Okay, we can do that. That'll look pretty because it's a purple smoothie bowl.
Do you want to slice the bananas and throw them on top?
Yes, I actually make them pretty.
Okay. Do you want to cut them yourself? Or I cut for you?
Do you know how to get this off? Is there a button?
Just twist it.
Oh,
yeah,
you
there you
twist
go.
it. Okay,
Yeah,
there you go. Okay, so tell me when.
That's good.
Does that look about as thick as you usually make it?
Yes,
Okay.
it's perfect. You gotta twist it on again. I have to twist it on again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
want thin slices, Elliot?
Yeah, do
Yes.
them like thin, so they're really thin, even thinner than that, so they don't fall below the smoothie. And then, so we.
The sound.
Oh,
Pan. Sorry.
was it off for a while?
Yeah. Go. Just recap.
Oh, okay. What were we last saying?
Just talk about the consistency. Yeah. Talk about that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So we were just saying that the consistency is just a little bit thicker than a smoothie, so you can actually like spoon it in. And what were you saying about the taste?
Yummy.
It's really good. Nice.
I have to chew it.
Yum. So, just a little bit more information, just when you're kind of at the store discerning, trying to make the best decisions on snacks. There's just a few things to keep in mind. One is just because it's marketed as healthy or as kid-friendly doesn't necessarily mean that it is the best choice. The one thing that you really want to watch for is to stay away from high fructose corn syrup. And unfortunately, that ingredient is found in so many kid snacks because it is just a sweetener that is heavily processed, and it's used in a lot of kids' items that are already packed with a lot of preservatives. Now, so just trying to stay away from high fructose corn syrup and also trying to stay away from trans fats, of course. So like we mentioned earlier, there's a big difference between whole, real, natural fats in things like avocados and yogurt and, you know, real foods versus like the trans fats that you'll get in like a heavily fried like potato chip or foods like that. With that being said, you know, don't be super, super hard on yourself to the point where you're finding it impossible or feeling overwhelmed with trying to make the right choice. I think everybody is obviously doing their best as a parent, and sometimes we need to make little exceptions here and there, and just don't be too hard on yourself in those moments. Let's see. Do you have any other tips or?
Sure. Sorry about the sound a little while ago. I turned the mic down while they were doing the blender. So yeah, Chelsey, just to recap a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to echo Chelsey's comments too when we're in the grocery store. Sometimes the grocery store can be overwhelming, right? And as many of you know, that we find all the whole foods when we go on the outside, the perimeter of the grocery store. That's where we get to the produce. That's where we get to the meat. And when we go to the aisles, but that's when we are confronted with all of the boxed food, the food in a bag, jars, cans, food that have preservatives, they have additives, and a lot of them, you basically have to be a chemist to be able to understand what they are. A lot of the ingredients that are being utilized in a lot of the processed foods today are so new that the scientists don't even know the effects that's going to happen in our body physiologically, some years down the line. And so a lot of them are just really new. And so that's why it's always good that when we do pick a processed food, try to pick the one that has the least amount of ingredients. Look at it. Look on there. Does it have 100 different ingredients? Does it have just 4 or 5 or 6, And so I'm a big advocate of whole and ancestral food, and I like to forage what we can and hunt for what we can, plant and go to the grocery store and get produce. But not everyone is there yet. Not everyone is at that level where they have the knowledge and the know-how to know what seasons to go out and harvest the food, what roots or berries to pick, what wild cactus to pick, and even how to prepare them, how to make them palatable. A lot of people are not there yet. So we need to be really, we need to be gentle with our people that we're trying to introduce a healthy way of life. And so those are some things to consider. And for those that don't have that knowledge yet, or they don't have the accessibility, at least where we start is navigating the grocery store. And if we bring the children along, then we start teaching them, say, we're going to spend most of the time on the perimeter, and we're going to buy whole foods. We're going to buy some good, healthy proteins and some good, healthy fats. We're going to choose this. And, when we have the budget, we can choose grass fed. When we have the budget, we can buy some bison. For those of you that shop at, say, Sprouts or Whole Foods or even Safeway, they have bison at those stores. They have bison options. They may cost a little bit more, and maybe some people may not be able to afford them every night or every day, but it's still a good option to know that they're there. And so, maybe you take them there and we show them that. Then we go into the produce section and say, let's get some fibrous vegetables. Let's get some, vegetables such as broccoli and asparagus and Brussels sprouts and things like that, because the fiber helps our digestion, and the fiber also helps to slow down the absorption rate of any kind of sugars if we have sugars in us for whatever that earlier that day. Mm-hmm. Let's get some healthy carbs. Let's get sweet potatoes. Let's get some brown rice. Let's get some Ojibwe wild rice if we can. Mm-hmm. There's different ways to get that kind of more kind of filling type of food that people are looking for. And we always advocate for protein because it makes you more satiated. It makes you more satiated. And some people say, it takes a long time to digest. Well, yeah, it does. And your body should be spending that time digesting. If we eat high carb and highly refined processed foods that our ancestors didn't have access to, and you are insulin sensitive, that means you're going to absorb all those, all those, you're going to break that down, and that's going to be glucose into your bloodstream, and you're going to have an influx of insulin, and your body is going to soak that up if you're insulin sensitive, and then you're hungry again an hour later. Then you're on this roller coaster of high insulin and down, high insulin and down. And we know that high insulin all the time puts us at risk of type 2 diabetes. So we're huge advocates of eating good, healthy fats, good, healthy proteins, and fibrous vegetables. And if we look at ancestral diets, we didn't have a whole high refined carbohydrates in their daily diet, right? And the most of us got the carbohydrates from the corn, bean, and the squash, some of the roots and things like that. So there's some ways for us to consider that if we understand the micro and macronutrients of our ancestral foods, we can look to mimic that with the foods that we have available in the grocery store. And that's what Chelsey talks about a lot of times too. So there's just some other things for us to consider as well.
Mm-hmm. We should talk a little bit about beverages too, yes. Drinks for kids, because obviously this is something that you're going to deal with all day long. One of the first, are there any more comments? They can hear us, right?
Yes, they can hear.
Can you hear me now? Just making sure I didn't.
Someone wants to review the ingredients in the smoothie because the sound was off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Recap.
Whoa, I guess the sound was off for a while. The ingredients in the smoothie is just frozen blueberries, Greek yogurt, and a half a banana. And we just kind of eyeballed it. And so you want it to be just a thickness to where it's easy to take a spoonful of it. And so we actually splashed just a little bit of oat milk in there to make the blueberries blend up a little bit more easily. So that's the biggest difference between the smoothie bowl and an actual smoothie, is with the bowl, we hardly put any milk and you want it to be a little bit thicker. Whereas with the actual smoothie that you drink, you can put more milk and just make it thinner and easy to drink through a straw. And that's like how our daughter, who's 2, that's how she likes to drink them, a little bit thinner with more milk in it. Okay, so
portions too, like a handful,
yeah, portions are really different for children. I'm gonna find the account. I'm following this really interesting nutritionist that her work is specifically for toddlers and young children. They definitely don't need as many calories per day, obviously, as an adult. Sometimes you would be surprised actually at how small a portion could be for a small child or a toddler to be satiated. But the difference here is that as long as it's a whole real food, you don't need to limit or restrict. It's great if your kid wants to eat a whole bunch of fruit or a whole bunch of vegetables. And, so don't, we always have to be really mindful of allowing for a good amount of play and making eating time fun. And so I'm not going to give specific portion recommendations for children because that's just going to really vary kid to kid. But I will say this, we'll talk a little bit about sensory issues. So that's one thing we've also learned a lot about recently because our daughter is dealing with that. She has an aversion to, she has a tactile sensory aversion. So that impacts what she's willing to eat, because if you're not comfortable touching a food in your hand, then you're also not comfortable having that food in your mouth. So sometimes we'll look and we'll say, oh, that kid is such a picky eater, but really it's like torture to them to touch something that for most people wouldn't be a big deal. For our daughter, it's she doesn't like mushy things and that. So what we've learned from her feeding therapist is that sensory play is really good for all kids, even if they don't have a quote unquote sensory disorder. It's really good to start sensory play from a really, really young age. And if you just Google that sensory play, you'll find there's all kinds of toys, there's all kinds of different slimes and Play-Dohs and homemade stuff that you can make. But also remember to use real food in sensory play, because the goal is that they get comfortable touching it with their hands, and then eventually, they'll put it in their mouth. And so that's another good tip. And one thing that we have had to sort of get used to is there's going to be a little bit of food waste. We don't like to waste food any more than the next person. We don't like to be wasteful, but we have found that if we present the food in such a way that makes it open for our daughter to be able to play with it and throw it on the floor and get it all over herself and that kind of thing, then it's not actually really a waste, because it is serving a purpose of getting her more comfortable with that food. So I think with kids, we have to shift our mentality a little bit when it comes to this concept of waste, and not worry so much if a little bit of it gets, messy or on the floor, or if they just suck on it for a while and then toss it to the side, that kind of thing.
And I want to take it back too, just for the ingredients part, in case the mic was off when I talked about this. But yes, flax milk, hemp milk, coconut milk, all my milk are better options. And I'm lactose intolerant. I haven't did dairy in years. And so that's a great one too, for those of you that may be concerned with that, if you're making just a regular one. And also too, in regards to the portion size. And Chelsey, you brought this up one time, and when you're making something like this, you tend to want to just dump a whole bunch in there, but grab a handful of them and say, would I eat this handful all in one sitting? And that's what you'll throw in there to make for your little smoothie bowl for the children or for yourself. And so just think about those things, because when you blend it up, it's definitely, sometimes it's going to make it seem a little bit less. So think about those things right there.
She brought her puppy in.
Do you want to ask her any more questions about foods and things?
Yeah.
We only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah. So of course, the other thing to remember when there's too much sugar in kids' foods or drinks, I'm like paranoid about the sound, is that it can make kids feel sick too. So it's not just about, you know, the nutritional profile of it. It's also just about the way that they feel. And remember that a diet high in sugar also impacts cognition. It impacts behavior. It has long-term serious consequences on health. So those are some of the reasons that we should just be mindful of the amount of sugars that our kids are taking in. Now, the reason why there's all kinds of debate out there. So you might need to do some of your own research on this and about, you know, whether the fructose in a fruit is really all that different from the fructose in a corn syrup. I believe that it is, because here's the thing. When you're getting sugar out of a fruit, you're also getting, and you're eating that whole fruit, you're getting the fiber, you're getting all of the nutrients that come from the flesh of the fruit, and and you're getting all the vitamins and minerals, and it's working together in this symbiotic, natural way that comes from the earth.
Fiber slows down absorption.
Right, and the fiber slows down the absorption of the sugars so that it's not like this rush of sugar to your kid. So I do believe that it's much safer to eat fruit that comes from, or sugar that comes from a fruit. What's wrong? Are you okay?
Do you want to close and ask me some questions about their homeschool here?
Sure, we can. Do you want to talk about homeschool a little bit?
Let's
Okay. And I also mentioned that we would talk about beverages. So just real quick, as much as we are encouraging eating whole and real fruits, be mindful that a lot of fruit juices that are marketed toward kids have a lot of corn syrup and high fructose and are from concentrate. So just stay away from the ones that are from concentrate in terms of fruit juices, and just remember to give them lots of water. Okay, so let's see. Elia, what is like some of your favorite foods that are healthy?
I like eggs.
Okay, that's good.
Nice.
And
What about any Filipino foods? Like adobo?
yeah.
Tell them about that. What is that?
It's like there's beef in it, there's rice, there's some different vegetables in it, and it's very good Filipino dish. And I like it.
Elia's mom is my sister, so we're Ojibwe on my mom's side, and we're also Lakota, and then her dad is Filipino, so she has a really cool mix of cultural foods that she gets to eat. Yeah, or her papa, she calls him papa. So what are some of your other favorite healthy snacks?
Like smoothie bowls. And at lunch, we'd have a few vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And I like when you make them into different shapes.
Mm. What is some of your favorite ways to be active and move around? Dance?
I love dancing. I love singing.
Nice.
I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to do.
We go on walks?
Yes, walks. And then we play in the park. And I like playing red light, green light. We just did that outside.
Cool. Liza, do you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Say hi, I'm Liza.
Hi.
So this is my other niece, Eliza. And if you all want to see some really cute, wholesome kids content, you can follow Eliza and Elia have a YouTube channel. It's called EJ Squared TV. That's EJ SQUARED TV. So you can look them up on YouTube, and they have a lot of fun videos.
Actually,
I
now
wanted
that
to tell you her favorite thing about bananas.
Okay.
when they dark, they're sweet.
Oh. Very cool. And then this is my sister McCall, and she's camera shy, so she didn't want to be in the video today, but she's the teacher I was telling you about. Oh. And if you want to see more about their homeschooling, you can follow her on Instagram for her classroom page, which is called Miss McCall's Class.
Actually, we just realized that we can't spell EJ Square TV on the TV. We're supposed to do Elia and Eliza. Even this is not the TV.
Yeah. So thank you all. We want to thank the Bonifacios here in McCall for letting us use their space. Thank you, Liz and Elder, for letting us use your beautiful little home and coming here and listen and watch how your children are just learning about awesome things in your homeschool. And yeah, we had a lot of fun doing this. And again, this is just a little bit of what everyone could be doing at home with their children. And let me just scroll through the comments real quick and kind of see what people were saying over here real quick. If there's any questions that we might address real quick before we close out. And then someone asks, Maria asks, what drinks are you suggesting beyond water and almond milk? And I think for in general, just for, fresh fruit juice that you might have made yourself would probably be a good option. Another thing that can be done too, for those of you that like carbonation, is you can make, you can, some of you probably have had this, you can get mint, cucumber, you can get lemons, limes, and you could cut those up and let those soak in a pitcher of carbonated water, sparkling water. And you can even add a little bit of all natural maple syrup just to make a little bit of sweetness to it. If you want to make it, give it like a kind of vinegary taste, you can add a little bit of apple cider vinegar. That's one of my favorite drinks to drink as well. And if you like that carbonation, you like something that's flavorful. Donnie, yes, thanks for that comment. The sensory play food that isn't eaten may be used as compost as well. That's great for all of you that are growing. It's important. You can utilize that as well. Let's see what else we have in here. And someone said mindfulness, they act like that's something new. No, we didn't. That's something that has been around for a long time. And even all of our indigenous ancestors had concepts and teachings that are what people call in English today mindfulness. Sitting in silence and being present with the surroundings is a big part of our culture. And so I'm just using the term mindfulness because that's kind of, we're talking the colonizers' language here. So, okay, good. Yep, rose water is awesome as well. And so, great. Well, thank you all for joining us, and hopefully you got inspired by this, and hopefully this give you some ideas that you want to try at home with your children. Again, my name is Thosh Collins. I'm one of the board members of the Native Wellness Institute, and that was my wife, Chelsey. And together we have an initiative called Well for Culture that is underneath the Native Wellness Institute. And our initiative is about helping to reclaim our spiritual, physical, mental health through our ancestral practices, our ancestral movement ideas, our indigenous foods, and incorporating a lot of new modern types of modalities of movement. And we did a little presentation on 7 Circles of Wellness a few weeks back. You might scroll back right here on the Native Wellness channel to kind of see that as well. And so, again, we're just closing out. I hope everyone is in a good place. Remember to take care of yourself first. Take care of your mental, spiritual, physical, emotional well-being through the ways of our ancestors, through your ways of prayer, your ways of ceremony, your song, dance, your connection to food, connection to one another, and connection to the Mother Earth. Those are things that are going to help to bring balance in our world that is out of balance today. And remember, right now in this country desperately needs the teachings of our ancestors to be put in place to restore some balance and some harmony and to restore some justice. So I want to encourage everybody out there to continue to take care of yourself first. If we don't take care of ourselves first, we don't have anything to give to our family, to our schools, to our communities. And so I want to encourage everyone to remain in a good ceremonial state every day and to walk in a good way and to always carry your teachings. So someone said, what do you think about SodaStream? I just got hip to SodaStream over here at Chelsey's family's house. I like that. That's what I would do. It's a good way to be eco-friendly and save plastic. So yes, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you all. Take care. Taihugay.